something or someone else will. Today's episode of the Ultimate Intimacy Podcast, and he's looking at me like, what are
No
you
idea where
talking
you're
about?
going.
As we said in last podcast, one of the things Amy and I kind of like to do sometimes is I'll prepare something or she'll prepare something. It's better when it's not scripted. At least that's the way I feel. I feel like it's a lot better when we could just have a good conversation. But if you're a long time listener of the Ultimate Intimacy Podcast, you're obviously here wanting to improve your relationship. And hopefully, a lot of you are husbands and wives listening to this together because you want to improve your relationship. And I think today's episode is going to be a good one. I apologize. If you're watching this, you're going to see me glare down and look at a bunch of notes. There's just a lot of information good information that I found, and I'm 50, so I'm just not going to remember all of it. So I have to probably glance down a little bit to some of my paper and read some of the things that I did to prepare for this. But like I said, we're going to talk about if you don't claim it in marriage, someone or something else will. And I want to just read a quote by Julianna Slattery. I don't know who she is, but this was a great quote. And it said, by God's good design, a man's sex drive is strong. If it is harnessed and intensified within marriage, it can be an incredible force fastening a man's affections and passions to his wife. I believe that it is right and godly to claim your husband's sexual desire as a potent source of influence in your marriage. This power was intended for you and for no one else. Unfortunately, if you don't claim it, someone or something else will. And although she's talking about sexual intimacy, I think this also goes hand in hand with emotional intimacy. So on this podcast, we're going to talk about both emotional and sexual intimacy because I do think that there are a lot of couples out there that don't claim the emotional intimacy with their spouse. And obviously there's going to be significant consequences of that as well too. And we often talk about how sexual intimacy and emotional intimacy go hand in hand. I mean, that's so true, right?
Right, right.
So I'll start off just saying, what does it mean to claim something? A lot of times we think of claiming something as like, oh, that's my property. I can do what I want with it. It's mine. But claiming something is a little bit different. To claim something is not to control it or own it like property. To claim something is to intentionally take responsibility for it. It is to choose it on purpose and to treat it as valuable enough to protect and pursue. Claiming is not you owe me this. This is my right, or you should just know. Claiming um, is intentional. It's not passive. It's not entitlement. It's pursuing. And you don't claim something by accident. So I just kind of wanted to differentiate the difference between claiming something and feeling like you're entitled to it or it's your property. Um, and it's so important that we protect what we claim in marriage. Because again, as we're going to talk about in this podcast, certain aspects of marriage, if you don't claim it, something or someone else will. And I know that sounds pretty harsh. I know a lot of couples just feel like, hey, I don't want to be intimate or I don't want to have the emotional connection, but because we're married, you're just going to have to deal with it. But I think naturally, as human beings, it's just like eating. Naturally, is something to starve that desire to get whatever that is. We'll just talk about food for this time, but the more you starve yourself, the more you want that food, the more you need that food to keep going. And I think emotional intimacy, sexual intimacy in marriage is really no different. Like we talk about this all the time that it's not just about a physical thing. Um, you need intimacy in marriage to thrive and to survive.
That's
Man, I
great.
was talking a lot.
Yeah, you
I
did.
hope you have a little bit of insight to give because
I'm just
I'm
trying to think
totally
of something
lost.
that I haven't already said like 1,000 times.
Sure. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I get it. I mean, we talk about this all the time, right? I mean,
I mean, I agree that if you don't, I don't want to say fulfill your spouse's needs because this takes two, and it's such a deep conversation, right? Like we talk all the time about, emotional intimacy really should be coming first before sexual intimacy because Sexual intimacy is literally the most vulnerable, naked vulnerability thing you can possibly do in marriage. And you gotta have a pretty great marriage in order to want to be that vulnerable with your spouse. Like that's why emotional intimacy comes first, right? So I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And I think that's really important too. And the way you're talking about just like claiming it and which really to me just means prioritizing, right?
for sure.
Like when I hear you saying claim it, like I think prioritize it. Like you have to prioritize each other and each other's needs, and that looks different to every couple.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. You know, and what claiming sexual intimacy or emotional intimacy means is, initiating it, not just responding to when your spouse is bugging you or driving you crazy on day four, like I do Amy sometimes. But no, I'm joking.
No, you're not.
Okay, I'm not joking. But again, initiating is not just responding, but actually initiating.
You want
Community.
to talk, you want to talk about initiating for a minute and why that's so hard?
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
sure.
just take a
And
little pause.
no, and I think this
Because
is
we
good.
got couples sitting here thinking like it's so easy for you to say go initiate, but when you're not thinking about something, it's not that easy.
But
It's not that
I think it goes
easy.
both ways as too, as far as a husband. Like go initiate connecting with your spouse. Go initiate a walk. Go initiate having a good conversation with them. I'm amazed at how many husbands just
Okay, so I
don't.
think a better analogy isn't just go on a walk or go talk to your spouse. Like initiating something that you don't naturally, I think men need conversation. They might say that they don't, but they do. I think that we get married because we're best friends to begin with, and we have these deep conversations that are natural and we want to get to know each other, right? And then the
Yeah,
conversation dies down because you might be talking about the same things, or it's always business or kids or whatever. But I think like men and women in marriage, we need that conversation. We need that connection in that way. To find a better analogy, it would be like stopping at the store and getting your wife flowers on the way home. Now, how many husbands think about doing that besides Valentine's Day or Mother's Day? Just think about it, right? Like, how often does
sure.
that come into your mind? You're like, no, I'm not thinking about, I don't care about, and this is just an analogy. Your wife might not like flowers. I get that. But something that means a lot to her that you have no connection to at all. How often are you thinking about that? That's not something that just pops in your mind like I should do that often, right? It's
Yeah,
not natural for someone if they don't like flowers. So my point is like if a wife or a husband, either way, is not thinking about, oh, that's a need that I have. That's not something that's just like, oh, I should probably go do that today. That's just that I'm just trying to like explain why that's hard for someone who's not necessarily thinking that or has a body that's telling him that they need it for that reason.
but it goes both ways, exactly like what you're saying for a husband as well. I would say most husbands don't stop and get flowers for
Would
their
say that
wife.
they don't. And then they're like, and then a wife's like, why don't ever you do that? Because I'm not thinking about it. The flowers are not important to me. It goes the same, it goes vice versa. So these are kind of conversations you need to have in your marriage. Like, what makes you feel loved? What makes you feel loved? And you got to both start pouring into each other.
And that's why I said
Find out what that looks like.
That's why I said at the first of this podcast, we were talking about both emotional and sexual intimacy, right?
Right.
Because exactly what you're saying, if you're a wife or you're a husband and you're not intentionally thinking, what can I do to make my wife happy today? Either if it's just like picking up some flowers or getting her favorite snack or, you know, doing something like that intentionally to claim that in your marriage, she's probably not going to be, you know, wanting to be intimate. She's probably not going to feel real connected. I mean, we talk about this all the time, that this goes both ways. And so as we're talking today about claiming intimacy in your marriage, we're talking about both from a husband standpoint and also a wife standpoint, because you're right, it doesn't make sense, and it would be wrong for us to just say, let's just talk about this need, because it does go both ways.
My point is that you don't need to be buying flowers or doing something that extreme all the time. We understand that that doesn't really like on the same scale as intimacy being important in your marriage. I'm just trying to explain to the husbands that when we say go initiate, that's really hard for a wife when she has a zero drive.
Yeah.
Just like you have desire zero drive for flowers, like it's something that you have to like really put on almost like on a mental list. Like I need to do better at this because it's not something my brain naturally thinks about.
Yeah.
So when you just say go initiate like that, it is really hard. It is really hard. It is very hard if you have a zero drive.
Okay, so let's replace the word sex with just intimacy, right? So go initiate.
Go initiate whatever that love looks like. Yes.
Exactly. Go initiate instead of just responding.
That could be a date night. That could be initiate husbands or wives a date night. If you want a really romantic, intimate as in connecting date night, plan it, initiate it, ask your
Yep.
spouse out, do something fun together, right? Like that's how you build emotional connection.
Yep. Claiming also means communicating your desire, not avoiding it. Making space for connection, not excuses for connection. Treating intimacy as a shared bond, not as a chore. And again, we're talking about both types of intimacy. And what that does by doing those things is it says, I still want you. I choose you. I desire to be close to you. When we don't claim things in our marriage and we reject each other or just don't prioritize anything, we're telling our spouse that we don't claim them. We don't desire to be close to them. We don't desire to have a connection to them. Whether, even though we're not saying that verbally out of our mouths, that is the message that we're sending our spouse when we're not claiming those things in our marriage.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
um, and I want to hit on a little bit too, why we're talking about this, why claiming this in your marriage matters. Anything valuable that is left unclaimed becomes vulnerable. And I want you to think about that. Anything valuable that is left unclaimed becomes vulnerable. Just like unclaimed land gets occupied, unclaimed possessions get taken, unclaimed opportunities get passed by, unclaimed relationships grow distant. So in marriage, unclaimed intimacy isn't going to just disappear. It's going to get replaced with something. And I think that's important to point out. I think it's important to talk about because again, we're not making justification for a spouse going and cheating or doing anything like that. But the reality is, and it needs to be said, is if you're not claiming things in your marriage, if you're not going out of your way to try to do things for each other, intimacy wise, right? Emotional intimacy, sexual intimacy, whatever, if you're not claiming it in your marriage, something or someone else is going to fill that void.
Hmm.
Just a matter of how long, right?
Right.
So, any
Right.
thoughts or
No, I agree.
okay?
You just leave an open space, right? Or
And I love what this says too. It says emotional and sexual intimacy are not optional luxuries in marriage. They're deeply human needs. And when those human needs go unmet, people don't stop needing them, they start finding substitutes. And I think that's so true. And a lot of times that gap's going to be filled with, well, let me back up and say this. Amy and I know a lot of couples to where they have not claimed things in their marriage, right? And what happens is that gap gets filled by children, right? When the needs are going unmet within the marriage, a spouse or will start focusing more on children, or a spouse will start focusing more on friends, or a
hmm.
spouse will start looking at pornography. And again, I'm not saying that because a lot of people will go and say, well, I did this because you didn't give me the attention. That's not an excuse. But we're just being real about when things go unclaimed, what type of things happen because that space is going to be filled with something.
Hmm.
Spouses go to social media and try to fill and escape through that. Could be friendships, right? You see that a lot where spouses go start spending more time with their friends. And none of these things start as the plan or that's going to happen. They start as a response to emptiness that they feel in the relationship. So,
Agreed. Agreed.
okay. I guess I'll just keep going. Like I said, I apologize. This episode's a little bit different. I just thought there were so many good notes that were
Nick could
taken.
have probably done it by himself.
Nah, that's not true. That's not true. I need you, babe.
I don't think
Um,
so.
so according to the American logical association. 67% of divorces cite lack of emotional connection or physical connection. We'll just talk about intimacy as the reason. It's not finances, it's not conflict, it's not even infidelity. Um, so again, when we're talking about intimacy, when it goes unclaimed, we understand that it's not everything in marriage, but it is a powerful glue that holds a couple together. Like I said, sex communicates to your spouse that I want you, you matter to me, I still choose you. So when intimacy disappears, it is going to leave one spouse feeling empty and looking for other ways to fill that void. So we kind of made a list of the things that couples can do to help not not become avoidant, but to claim intimacy in their marriage.
We did.
We did.
We made a list.
We did. We totally
Okay.
did. And I made it without you. So
Nick's looking at me like, read the list. I'm like, I'm not on the list.
no, no, no.
Like, I can read the list. I can share.
No, I want to hear your thoughts though, because again, this is something that I think um it's often a balancing act in our marriage. We talk about it all the time, and I think this is, we've talked about the emotional and sexual intimacy game, toxic game that couples play in their marriage. I mean, I think all this goes hand in hand. It's amazing how many couples don't claim something in their marriage, and then all of a sudden, their spouse is wondering, why did they do this, or why are we so distant, or
Hmm.
how did we get to this?
Oh, absolutely. Hmm.
And it's easy to get to. I mean,
Hmm.
I think it's it takes so much work to be married.
It it
And that's okay.
does though? Does it though?
No, and what I'm saying is that's a good thing, like anything in life.
I don't know. Like let's have this
Maybe,
discussion real quick.
I mean, maybe I'm so easy to be married to, it takes no work at
Maybe that
all.
is.
Maybe,
Maybe that is what it
maybe.
is. I
Yeah.
think it depends on the relationship. Yeah, Nick's makes it super
I'm
easy
saying
to be
that
married
saying
to.
that sarcastically.
No, I think if you have a spouse that gets lazy, okay, so I'm just gonna take a second, okay? My
Take as
turn.
much
My
time as you
turn.
want. The microphone is yours, babe.
Okay, my turn. I shared a video a couple days ago, and it was 6 ways into you're killing your intimate life in marriage. And I just talked about the ways you're being lazy. And I said, number one, you're being lazy with initiation. Let's see, let me find it. You're being lazy with date nights. You're being lazy with communication. You're being lazy with flirting. You're being lazy with your listening, and you're putting your kids first or your phone. I mean, those are pretty straightforward, right? And this is what you're talking about, really, about creating this void where something or someone is going to come and fill that void, right? So when you start putting your kids first, when you're always sitting on your phone, and I tied that into just being lazy because when we get kind of not just lazy, but distracted with other things. And we start pushing our spouse farther and farther and farther down on our priority list. That is creating the void that you're talking about right now. And that's when other things start to settle in. So a wife, instantly, a minute that she feels her husband is focusing on work or focusing on a hobby or has cut off the emotional intimacy. She just doesn't feel connected. She's kind of in charge of everything around the home and parenting. He's just kind of disconnected after work. Just those are just some like things that we hear from
Yeah.
people. She's automatically going to start pulling to friendships, talking to friends about her feelings instead of her husband because he might be distracted, or vice versa, husbands too. She might turn to hobbies because she's trying to escape whatever she's living. Same with
Yep.
husbands, right? A lot of the time they're like, I don't feel loved here, so I'm going to go try and feel loved here. We've talked
Yeah,
about that. We've
exactly.
talked about that before. Girls have an easier way to go reach out to friends or sisters or family members for that emotional connection that we always talk about. And husbands can too. They have friends and stuff too. I get that. But when it comes to women needing more of that emotional connection, I feel like there's more people. to
Yeah.
receive that from, and sexual intimacy is harder because the minute that gets cut off, there's only one person that can take care of that in your marriage.
Yeah, so true. I'm glad you
So,
brought that up.
so I know that we've kind of already had that discussion, but the way that you keep these voids from happening is by not being lazy in those things I just mentioned. Not showing your spouse that your phone's more important, not putting your kids first. I mean, like, we can never do a date night because blah, blah, blah. I had some guy in that video say, date night is for people that have money, blah, blah, blah. Date night does not have to cost any money. It's about getting out together. It's about
Date night
having doing something fun when your kids are
could be
asleep.
going on a walk together.
And if you can't leave
Yeah.
your kids, then play a game when the kids go to bed. Do something other than just like scroll on your phone or watch a movie, right? Like, it's about being intentional with
If
each
you're
other.
if you're making excuses, you're already in the wrong place. Right? Like
Absolutely. Absolutely.
if your marriage was important to you and you didn't have the money to go on date night, you would figure out something to do to connect with your
You'd
spouse.
be like, we're not
You
having a
would,
phone night. We're gonna cook together. We're gonna make a dessert together. We're gonna go play a board game or a card game together. We're gonna go sit on the swing and talk together. We're gonna do anything but swipe our phones.
feel like excuses can be the death of marriages, right? We can all make excuses as to why we do things or
Mhm.
why we don't spend time with our spouse. And I mean,
Yeah.
again, like if it was important to you, you would absolutely do anything to
So this
prioritize that.
So this takes us back to the whole is marriage work? Well, it depends. If you have two people that are pouring into the marriage, it's not going to feel like work. Like, we both pour into our marriage now, so it doesn't always feel like work. If you're in a relationship where, and I hear from a lot of husbands and wives, where they feel like they're doing everything in the marriage,
Yeah.
they're giving and giving and giving and giving, and their needs never matter, you're going to feel like your marriage is a whole lot of work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we hear
So,
from
I
people
mean,
that
I
all the
guess I
time.
guess that's the difference is if your marriage feel like work, it probably means like you feel like you're doing the majority of the effort, and now it's turning into I'm working so hard on this marriage. And because if your spouse was working just as hard, it would not, I don't think it would feel like work.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be, hey, it takes a lot of effort, but it's not work. Because work is, and I'm not saying work is a bad thing. Work is not a bad thing. Work can be a great thing. Working on your marriage is a great thing. But when it feels like work in a negative way, that's when it becomes bad, right?
Yeah. And I think I say this all the time, but we got to give some grace to each other. You can't just say, well, my spouse isn't perfect at this, or, maybe they dropped the ball on this, and therefore I'm gonna withdraw and withhold this. Like, you have to give each other some grace. Like, you're both trying to figure things out. You're both trying to do the best that you can, hopefully, right? Not all the
Mhm.
time. But like, sit down and have those conversations. Say, you know what? I'm feeling neglected in this way, and this way. I would like to be more connected,
Mhm.
and ask your spouse how they want to be more connected. Like, it really is amazing. Like, you could transform the whole trajectory of your marriage with just simply like asking some questions and caring. Because I'm sure your spouse doesn't want to feel the same way either. Like, if you're a wife that's emotionally disconnected from your husband and he feels, disconnected from you that way and sexually as well too, and you're both just like frustrated, like all it takes is a little bit of communication. And
Mhm.
it all comes down, I think, back to the pride thing, right? Like, well, I shouldn't have to go talk to him about this, or I shouldn't have to go talk to her about this. She should just know. Like, drop your pride and have those conversations.
Right. And so, to fix the lack of passion, these are the three things that I mentioned in this video. I said, put your phone down, make love more often, and ask your spouse, how can I love you better? Now, this goes both ways because if you go make love more, the person with the higher drive is going to feel loved and they're going to want to step it up emotionally.
Yeah.
You
Just
both
ask
you
just
both
ask
have
Amy.
to you both have to put your phone down. Absolutely. That takes both people putting your phone down. That's where it starts. And then ask your spouse, how can I love you better? If the person that is the higher drive is feeling wanted because you have initiated or have just been willing with a positive, loving attitude and tried to enjoy it, right? And then that person is asked, "How can I love you better?" This cycle like jump starts again. And that's the whole point. Like, all these people, like, every time I post a video like that, just saying, "Go make love more," ask your spouse, "How can you love each other better?" and then do whatever they asked. Like, I feel like people are like, I'm in this void. It's been so long. We're just so disconnected. Go
Go
jumpstart your
connect.
marriage then. That
Yeah.
takes being intimate in all ways, emotionally, sexually, spiritually. Do you know what I mean? Like
And
you
it,
can actually jumpstart your marriage. Just
you can.
find that passion. You could just bring it back real quick if you want. I know there's forgiveness and there's healing and there's crap that people have gone through. I get that that's a whole nother deeper level. But for most marriages where they're just feeling like roommates and nothing traumatic has actually happened, you can jumpstart your marriage pretty quick.
Yeah. And
Let go of pride.
I think a lot of
Go pride.
spouses, both men and women, feel like, oh, if I try to step it up, it's just more output on my end, and really nothing's going to change, and we're going to have the
Mhm.
same marriage. This is more work. I don't think that's the case. Like if both of you are starting to put forth effort, like you'll see your marriage like flourish to the point to where like you want to talk to each other, you
Mhm.
want to make love to each other. I mean, we hear from a lot of people that have been in these marriages where they're on the brink of divorce and don't know what else to do. And then a month or two later, they're like, oh my heck, we're both so happy. We never could have imagined we could have been this happy.
Right.
And it really is just prioritizing your marriage or claiming that
Mhm.
sexual intimacy, claiming the emotional intimacy, and saying, I'm going to now start prioritizing this in our marriage. I'm going to claim it. I'm
Mhm.
not going to let someone or something else come in and fill that void.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's just talk about the things that you can do. If you're in a couple that is saying, I want to reclaim my marriage. I want to reclaim the sexual intimacy and
Mhm.
emotional intimacy in our relationship. Like we talked about, here's just some simple steps. Number one, we all talk about this all the time, but sit down and have a conversation about it. Nothing can get better until you're willing to talk about it. And yeah, that takes you to let down your pride and say, you know what? I don't care if she's right or I'm right. Like Austin always says, if you listen to the podcast, it's not about, he or she, it's about the marriage, right?
Mhm.
Let your pride down and say, you know what? We need to have this conversation for our marriage. Who cares really who's right or who's wrong? This is for our marriage. It's not about individually, and let down that pride and have those conversations.
That means that you can't start pointing fingers during that conversation because we always say go have that conversation. If you're fighters and everything turns into an argument, the conversation's not going to help your marriage, right? Like it has to be a healthy conversation. You have, like you said, let go of your pride. That's non-finger pointing. That's not accusations. Like you do not win as a couple if you're arguing points and sides
Yeah.
and scorekeeping, right? Like, well, I feel like you do this and you never do this and blah 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 blah. Like
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you have to learn how to have healthy conversations, number one, or that conversation isn't going to do anything. Because you can't, I mean, I know we make it sound like, go just talk about it. Like we understand it's not easy to talk about when you have a relationship where
Or
talking
when
is not so easy
or when you have emotions in place, right? Like if you're
or stress.
emotionally triggered or whatever, like we get
Yeah.
the conversations can be hard. We totally get that.
Yeah.
So but you got to have those good conversations. I really like this next one. Create emotional routines. A lot of times we have good intentions, but our intentions never happen, and that's what causes the problems in a relationship. So you got to create some routines, and this could include like check-ins, conversations, specific time you're going to spend together, like Amy and
Hmm.
I religiously, or date night, right?
Yep.
Be consistent, whatever that looks like for your marriage, but set time aside to be emotionally connected and don't let anything get in the way.
Right.
Um, Prioritize intimacy, right? Prioritize sexual intimacy,
After emotional intimacy.
prioritize emotional intimacy, talk about things. Um, don't make intimacy an obligation. The key is choose each other. I mean, it really is just as simple as that, right? Instead of making it about like, oh my heck, I gotta have sex again, whatever. Choose each other, right? Choose each other. It's just that simple. I love the next one too. Protect your marriage like a fortress. Set boundaries. Set boundaries around distractions. Set time limits around distractions, whether it's your phone or anything else. Guard your energy. Oh, I'm just too tired. I've been too tired today. I don't want to connect with you. Like it's your energy. Guard your energy. Apply your energy in the areas that are most important to you. Um, you wouldn't let a stranger move into your home, so don't let outside influences move into your intimacy. And I thought that was really good as well. And then finally, seek help if you need. There's nothing wrong with listening to podcasts like this one or reading books or different things to get the tools or information that hopefully can be helpful. I mean, we do that all the time, right?
Yeah. You mentioned prioritize sexual and you said prioritize sex, and I wanted to clarify
Sexual
something.
intimacy.
It needs to be sexual intimacy in marriage. If it's not feeling intimate, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because what women don't want to just most women don't want to just go have sex. They want to feel connected sexually. Now, if your wife is not prioritizing it, everything comes in the way. There's usually just a couple reasons for that. Number one, she's feeling emotionally disconnected because that comes first. It doesn't mean everything in your life has to be perfect and you have to be this Prince Charming with flowers for her to want to be intimate. That's not what I'm saying. But kindness, respect, showing love, being teammates in the marriage, that comes first. That's what makes it sexual intimacy. If she is emotionally disconnected, and you can feel that before intimate times, that is your job as a husband, as a leader of a home, to find out why. That takes conversation. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That takes letting go of your pride and saying, I need to know why you feel emotionally disconnected. That is what builds emotional connection, is asking those kind of questions, listening, and then caring. There's a lot of husbands, I think, listening to this podcast, and I'm just trying to, like, it's very simple. It's very simple, men. The number two reason, besides emotional connection, that she doesn't want to have sexual intimacy with you, is going to be because she does not enjoy it. Maybe her mind is a complete disaster and it's emotional for her. That's a thing for women. I know a lot of men don't understand that, but that's a thing for us. Once again, ask her, what is stressing you out? How do we decompress that stress? Body massage. I mean, do you need an hour before? How do you decompress? Those kind of things. It's a thing, guys.
Do you need a ring?
Yes, number three is, I was going to say that. She's not physically enjoying it, which is why we sell the all-in-one massage intimate cream slash lubricant. Start with that. If it hurts, she's not going to want to do it. If you're doing something that doesn't feel good and she just doesn't want to tell you, she's not going to want to do it. If it lasts forever because foreplay is exhausting to her, she's not going to want to do it. The ring can really help with that because it focuses on the clitoris and it's only used together. That is the only reason we sell it, is because it's life-changing. Not going to lie, it is life-changing. It helps her enjoy it the entire time rather than just those 10 seconds, if you know what I mean. So
I know. I know what you mean.
a wife needs to enjoy sex the entire time like you do, or she's not gonna enjoy she's not gonna want it. Like, we crave stuff that is great, right? We don't crave stuff that we hate. We
Yeah.
crave stuff that loves, that feels good, just in any aspect of life. So if there's got to be a reason that she's not wanting it, and it's probably one of those three.
Yeah.
And that
Well,
takes communication, guys. And that is why we created the Let's Talk About Sex card deck. That's why we wrote the co-book with Nate. Let's talk about sex, because we talk about emotional intimacy, what women need, those 20 things that women need, and the 20 things that husbands wish their wife knew. Because these things go hand in hand. And if she doesn't want to do it, there is a reason for that, and you should know that reason. Like, I feel like every husband, if his wife's like, my wife just doesn't want to be intimate anymore, what is the reason? As a husband, you should know that reason. It either doesn't feel good, she's emotionally disconnected, maybe she's in perimenopause and menopause, and she's just like, my body is a wreck. Do you even know that about her? Have you asked her about that? What is going through her what is going on mentally that is like overtaking that? Like, that, guys, that's emotional connection, is knowing these things about your wife. If she's not interested, or if that's not on a priority list, there's
find
a
out.
reason for that. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, find out why. And I was just gonna say this, in observing, like you can tell when you're just out and about the couples that are just fully connected, right? Or that enjoy each other, being with each other. We were out to dinner the other night and there was this couple. that was in their probably 70s, and the whole time the wife was reading a book at this nice restaurant, and the husband's just sitting there, and we're like, that's really sad. I mean, we don't know obviously the circumstances, but here they are at a nice restaurant
They
together.
did not speak to each other once.
Yeah.
Not one time I watched.
And 100% I can tell you that they probably don't have any sort of intimate life,
No.
right?
I mean,
But
maybe we're wrong.
maybe
Maybe
we're
we're
wrong.
wrong. But from what we could see, it was the saddest thing I've ever seen. Two people at dinner for an hour and a half at a really nice restaurant,
But
never spoke to each other. Never. He stared at her and ate his food. She was like 100% into her book, never looked up.
yeah, it's very strange, but you can tell when a couple is claiming each other in their marriage.
Right.
You can tell. They're laughing, they're hugging, they're touching, they're having fun, they're happy. They're going to have a good intimate life. I think a lot of times we as husbands feel like we can give the bare minimum and then still expect to have a great intimate life. Not
And
gonna,
vice versa.
yeah, and
And
vice
vice
versa.
versa.
Not going to happen,
Right.
right? So the purpose of this podcast again is, whether it's sexual intimacy or emotional intimacy in your relationship, wives, you need to claim the sexual intimacy in your marriage. You need to claim that. Husbands, you need to claim the emotional intimacy in your marriage. And again, we're not saying this is for 100%. We recognize there are circumstances, but for the most part, that's typically what husbands and wives are dealing with. And
Mhm.
you need to claim it because if you don't claim it in your marriage, something or someone else is eventually going to claim it. Don't leave that void. And right now is the time to start talking about it. Again, have those conversations. You'll be amazed at what can be resolved with just a little bit good communication. So,
Absolutely.
but we hope you
Yep.
enjoyed the podcast. This episode was sponsored by our favorite sponsor, Ultimate Intimacy Products. You can go to shop.ultimateintimacy.com. We have some incredible products
Literally incredible.
that will
For women.
change your life.
If your wife doesn't love making love, like I'm telling you, like even some of my friends, family members, people we know are like, that thing is amazing.
We've been handing it out like it's Halloween candy, and great
Almost,
feedback.
you guys, it's only used together, so that's great for Christian couples. And the all-in-one lube paired with that, like she's gonna enjoy it like she never has, and she's gonna be wanting it.
Yeah, let me rephrase that. When I said we were handing it out like it was Halloween candy, we weren't handing it out as Halloween candy. Yeah,
Been
let
handing
me
it
just
out like
rephrase that. I
no, we
was
were sharing with friends that were sharing with their
yes.
friends that were sharing with their
I
friends because they love it
I
so
knew the
much.
second I made that comment, I
We're
was
gonna
going
get
to
a
get some
ton of
people saying you were handing that out as
hate mail.
Halloween candy. To
Hate mail.
yeah.
No,
So
he's
just to
joking.
clarify,
He's joking. He's usually joking.
that's right. It is amazing, but we appreciate all of you listening to the podcast. Send us your emails, your thoughts. Uh, Let us know what we can do for you. If you have any ideas for future podcast episodes, we love doing this. And until next time, we hope all of you find ultimate intimacy in your relationship.